Now that we've added, subtracted, multiplied, and divided rational expressions, we're going to spend some time solving rational equations. In the first part of 8.6, we're going to work with solving rational equations with one fraction on each side. And our goal is going to be to eliminate the denominator. So we want to eliminate d of x. We have 4 steps, so let's take a look. In step 1, we want to factor just the denominator. Make sure you're not factoring the numerator. The purpose is to state our restrictions in the domain, and we're actually going to come back to that in our final step. When we have just one fraction on each side, we're just going to cross multiply. Sometimes you'll have a plain x, sometimes it'll become quadratic, and you may have to solve by factoring. Whenever we get our answer for x, we're going to have to check for extraneous solutions. When we solve rational equations, extraneous solutions are solutions that are also in the domain restrictions. So if this happens, then our answer would be extraneous. Okay, we're just going to try A and B for the video. Let's start. Example A. What is the solution to each rational equation? We have x plus 1 over x minus 3 equals 5. I'm going to do a couple of things here. I'm going to put x plus 1 and x minus 3 in parentheses. And on the right, I want to have it in fraction form as well. I'm going to write 5 over 1. Now, step 1 said to factor the denominator, and I just have that x minus 3. So there's really nothing to factor in step 1. So I'm just going to write step 1, draw a line. The purpose of that factoring rule, though, is to make sure in step 2 we know our restrictions for our domain. Now, if x minus 3 can't equal 0, then we know that x can't equal 3. And the only reason we state this in this lesson is to make sure we check for extraneous solutions. When we solve equations, we do not write the solution in our final answer. We don't need to know what x can't equal, we just want to know what it can equal. Now, from here, we're going to cross multiply in step 3. I'm going to take x plus 1 times 1, which won't change much at all. And then I'm going to take x minus 3 times 5. From here, we want to solve for x. So on that left-hand side, technically I can distribute the 1 in, but that's really just going to give us x plus 1. On the right, though, when we distribute 5 in, notice what happens. We get 5x, but then we also get minus 15. Still want to solve for x. Notice nothing's quadratic, so that's best case scenario. Get all the x values on the same side, all the constants on the other side. I'm going to subtract x to the right, and I'm going to add 15 over to the left. Just kind of do 2 steps at once. On the left-hand side, 1 plus 15 is 16, and on the right-hand side, 5x minus x would be 4x. Get x by itself, just divide by 4. Nothing new here. We get x equals 4 as a possible solution to this rational equation. Now remember, double check, it's not in our restricted domain. That means x equals 4 is our answer. We do not include the domain. We did up to this point, but now we don't have to. When we solve equations, again, we just want to know what our values are that work for x, not the ones that we have restrictions on. Example B on the right is going to be a little bit more challenging. Notice we have fractions on both the left side and the right side, but only one fraction on each side. And this is where the cross multiply rule will apply. Again, I'm going to put parentheses around anything that has addition or subtraction. That would mean that 2x plus 5 would have to be in parentheses, and then also the 11x plus 8. Now in 2x plus 5, nothing factors, and in 11x plus 8, nothing else factors. As is right now, step 1, there's nothing we can do. But in step 2, we're going to have to really be particular with our domain. It's not as easy as saying like x can't equal negative 5, because that's not actually the domain rule. I know that if 2x plus 5 can't equal 0, if you move 5 over, we have 2x equals negative 5, and x would have to not equal negative 5 halves. So it's not equal for our domain restriction. And then for 11x minus or plus 8 can't equal 0, kind of the same idea. Move that 8 over, which we normally do, but then we have to divide by 11. Like so. Now I know in my domain, x can't equal negative 5 halves or negative 8 elevenths. Kind of a strange domain, but again, we're going to check our final answer to make sure that we don't include those two values if they were solutions for x. All right, step 3. Now we're going to cross multiply. And again, we have fractions on each side, so I'm just going to cross multiply on the left. I'll put that over here. 1, and then on the bottom right, 11x plus 8. And then going the other way, again, you can put x out in front or after like we did in the last one. It doesn't matter. You do have to distribute it in no matter what. On the left-hand side, 1 times both of those parts, nothing changes. But again, watch what happens on the right. If we distribute x in, we actually get 2x times x, which is 2x squared. And x plus or times 5, which would be 5x. So notice, everybody, we're trying to solve this quadratic. At this point, we have to set it equal to 0. This isn't just a factor and try to cross things out kind of situation. This is we're trying to solve, so we need to move 11x over and the 8. If I have 0 and then 2x squared minus 6x minus 8, we have to solve this. Now, one thing I notice is all of my coefficients are even. Do you guys see that? So we could technically divide by 2 right now. That might be nice. 0 divided by 2 on the left is still 0. On the right, 2x squared over 2 would just be x squared. Might make it a little easier to factor. And then 6 divided by 2 would be 3x. And then 8 divided by 2, 4. So just dividing both sides by 2, now we have x squared minus 3x minus 4. Let's hope this is factorable. Think of two numbers that multiply to get negative 4 and add to get negative 3. Is that possible? Well, we could do 1 and 4, or we could do 2 and 2 in some way. I think if we do negative 4 and positive 1, we'll get negative 4 when we multiply, but negative 3 when we add. Now again, this equals 0, so we have to solve. X minus 4 equals 0, and x plus 1 equals 0. So notice you guys in this blue over here, we're solving. So we're not putting the not equal symbol to it. We're just signing the what it can equal. So we'll add 4. X possibly can equal 4. We'll subtract 1. And x possibly can equal negative 1. Notice neither of those answers are in our restriction. So that means x has a possibility of being both of those solutions to make that rational equation a true statement. Now, when we get into day 2 or part 2, we'll take a look at what happens when there's more than one fraction on one side of the equation.